Hi, we're Hollow Coves.
And you're watching LifeMinute TV.
Their calming sound, uplifting lyrics, and strong connection to nature has led indie folk group Hollow Coves to organically grow an impressive following over the past decade. Since forming in 2014 on Australia's Gold Coast, members Matt Carins and Ryan Henderson have garnered more than 500 million streams worldwide. This year, they released their second full-length album, Nothing to Lose, which hit #1 on the iTunes Singer-Songwriter charts in 20-plus countries. The guys stopped by the LifeMinute Studios to talk all about it, as well as their collab with the National Park Foundation to help raise money to preserve and protect our national parks. This is a LifeMinute with Hollow Coves.
So this one was kind of a bit different to previous albums. It was a lot more collaborative. We wrote a bunch of songs with another Australian artist who ended up producing the album. He's a guy called Matt Corby, and he's someone who we listened to his music growing up, and he inspired us, and so it was really cool to be able to work with him. Just such a talented songwriter. He played drums and bass on the record, and so it was much more of a collaborative process for us. We'd learnt a lot of lessons from the first albums that we'd worked on, so going into this one we were a little bit more prepared. We were kind of just writing a lot about kind of slowing down and taking time to enjoy the important things in life, and kind of reminding ourselves of these kind of life lessons that we've been learning along the way and still figuring it out.
I think the first track is a good example. It's called Nothing to Lose.
Nothing to lose. Let's make the most of this life.
They're pretty much all about how people get worried about their image or what others are expecting of them, or
even just getting caught up in things that you have no control over, like people who struggle with road rage, for example. It's such a small thing, and it's just going to be something that you can't control. The fact that you're going to get caught in traffic, some people will let that ruin their day, and they'll get so worked up and so aggravated by it. But if you just let go of that and just go, okay, this is going to be part of life. There's traffic, it sucks, but it's fine. It's not actually that bad. Shifting that perspective, you can actually be a lot more calm, a lot more at peace through those things, and just kind of cruise through it a little bit.
yeah. There's a line in it that says, when life gives you lemons, just make lemonade. Just playing on that, just go with the flow. Just don't let things stir you up and make you really emotional. As hard as it is, just try to go with the flow, and that's what that's about.
One of the singles that we released was a song called On the Way that I wrote.
I'll find my feet on the way.
Yeah, it's kind of for anyone who has a dream. We wanted to inspire people because we have a lot of friends back home who are really talented, and they might have these dreams that maybe they're even too afraid to verbalize because they think it is silly or something like that. But they're so talented, and we kind of just wish that they would just give it a shot. We were kind of looking back on our career and realizing that what we've been able to achieve is wilder than we could have ever imagined when we first started out. We never thought music would be a part of our journey. I studied civil engineering. Matt's a qualified carpenter. We just kind of thought...
Pretty different.
We kind of thought we'd just do normal jobs, and then we just loved music, and so we wrote some songs, and we're like, oh, let's just give it a go. Let's just put something out there and see if people like it. And looking back, if we'd never taken that first step, we never would have known that this could be our life. It's actually crazy, but some people think that they need to have it all figured out before they can go after a dream. We kind of wanted to encourage people, no one really knows or has it all together when they first start pursuing a dream. Often people are just figuring it out every step of the way, and it's just about taking one step at a time and then figuring it out as you go. So On the Way is kind of all about that.
Yeah, I think across the board of the album, it's a lot of topics of encouraging people in just walks of life that we've kind of seen and observed in our story, be uplifting or proactive in whatever that may be.
Touring can be hard work, but I think when you have a really good crew, it just makes it so much easier. So
our tour manager / bass player and our drummer Tom, they really hold us together. They're such great people. And
We were just saying the other day, like if they decide to stop touring with us, it might be hard to convince us to keep touring.
this tour for North America run, we're doing a collaboration with the National Parks Foundation, which is such a great fit because it entwines with what our vision is, with our lyrics and what we're trying to spread to the audience. It was kind of, yeah, like a no-brainer to have this collaboration, and for every ticket sold on this tour, $1 goes towards helping preserve the national parks through North America. So yeah, I think we feel really passionate about it because we go to national parks ourselves. Even before this tour, on days off, we would visit national parks and have reset days of going through like Zion National Park or Badlands.
Pretty much every tour that we've done in North America, we would like look on the map and see like, oh, we're going to be traveling through, there's a cool national park, let's go and check that out. And so when we got kind of presented with this opportunity, we were like, this makes so much sense because we'd probably be going to the national parks anyway. And I think like our music has been so inspired by spending time in these beautiful places. Like there's something that happens when you spend time in these places where it just like soothes you or like reminds you of the beauty that is in this world, but also at the same time like learning more about the national parks. There's so much that we need to do to be able to preserve these places so that future generations can enjoy them as well. And they're like actually some of our favorite parts of America, so we want to make sure that these places are preserved and kept so that future generations can enjoy them too. We went and got to meet with their office in Washington the other day, and they were actually all such lovely people and like so feel like kindred spirits in a way. Like their hearts are so aligned with our hearts for preserving these places. There's actually so many national parks that we weren't aware of. Like often people just think of the big ones, but yeah, like that we got to go to this historic center in
the Independence National Park in Philadelphia, which was funny because we get a little like day sheet for the tour of what's going to happen each day, and it said, oh, we're going on a 3-hour hike in Philadelphia, and so we got into like our hiking gear and boots and all this, and then we rock up at this historic building site, and I'm like, okay. So this is a national park as well.
But one they did bring up actually that we are excited for is the Santa Monica Mountains. We've never been there before, but everyone in the office was kind of raving about it, so very interested to explore.
So we're doing a video session in Zion National Park, which is really cool. We're doing, I think there's 3 songs that we're performing with Zion National Park as the background. So
it'll be at like sunset hour, so hopefully the sky's all changing colour throughout it. But yeah, we're really excited for that because like the location looks insane and it should hopefully turn out well.
With our music, when we write it, that same feeling that you get when you're in nature, we have tried to bring into our lyrics and our sound to captivate that same feeling for the listener. So it goes pair in pair really well because we've done a lot of travelling and we're passionate about getting outdoors, and yeah, the overflow of that came out through our music. But the coastline of Australia, there's a lot of coves and inlets on beautiful beaches, and coves kind of fit that theme. And then I think we just went on Name Generator and just spent like months of like what
we probably spent 6 months of sending each other lists of like words that we thought fit the sound that we were making, and like coves was one that got thrown out there, and then we were like we would probably send each other like different combinations of words, and there'd be like 12 or 15 every time we would send them, and then one day we sent those 2 words together and it just felt right.
It feels like I'm drifting away from pictures of my younger days.
My family, they're all musical. So my mum's a piano teacher. My dad actually just recorded a lot of albums for himself, more just a hobby. But my brother, he's in a band, and my sister plays piano and flute. So yeah, I started off playing drums originally and then ended up picking up the guitar. And yeah, like we said, it was never gonna be like a career thing, just a hobby. We ended up meeting up through a mutual friend, and I think I had some songs, you had some songs that we just kind of jammed out, and that was the beginning of this project.
I only really got into music later in life, like as I was studying civil engineering, learning guitar kind of very quickly became my way of procrastinating from doing assignments. I started to realise that I was loving music more than, well, I think most people would love that more than doing assignments, but it became like almost an obsession where I was just like so in love with it and learning different finger picking patterns, and yeah, I was just making music, and then we got connected and it just kind of all just flowed quite naturally at the start, but yeah, we never thought it would be anything more than just a hobby. There's a lot of artists that inspire us, like Bombay Bicycle Club would be one, Angus and Julia Stone.
Sufjan Stevens. Yeah, we really like him. I think he's such an interesting artist. Like every album's just, you don't know what you're gonna get.
A lot of artists would probably say this same one, but Bon Iver would be pretty high on the list, I'd say. We got a big year ahead, so after this tour we go home, we've got a month and a bit off. Probably be doing a little bit of writing. After that we go to Europe again, and we do another big tour through Europe. After that we go home, and then we've got an Australian tour, Australia, New Zealand at the end of the year.
I think we're just going to get back into our studio and just write. We live in a really beautiful place in the world on the Gold Coast in Australia, so it's pretty easy to relax there. Our lifestyle's a bit crazy. Like my wife and I live in the hinterland, so we wake up to this rainforest every day, which is pretty relaxing, and then we head down to the beach and catch up with all of our friends at a cafe, have coffee, tea, and then go for a surf. It's pretty much like a dream at the moment. So it's not going to always be like this, like I'm sure when kids come along. So we're trying to embrace this lifestyle at the moment, but yeah, it's pretty good.
We have like such a beautiful community of friends back home as well, and like I live about 50 meters from the beach. There's this cafe down the road that we can just walk to, and pretty much any morning you walk down there, there's going to be someone, like friends there, and you end up just sitting there and hanging out and like starting the day with a coffee just by the beach. It's such a good way to start the day, like before any work, just going and just like spending time with the community. But yeah, it's a pretty good lifestyle.
To hear more of this interview, visit our podcast, LifeMinute TV, on iTunes and all streaming podcast platforms.